Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. We were discussing just recently reasons to buy into the Canon system, to still buy a Canon DSLR even though they don't rank in the top 10 of sensor evaluations, for instance on DxOMark. At the time we were discussing that, Nikon had 6 out of the top 10, Sony had 3 out of the top 10, and there was actually a Pentax in there. But Canon was nowhere to be found. And we've had some good feedback from you guys, from viewers, of other reasons to buy a Canon DSLR. And, basically what I'd said there was, even though they're not in the top 10, all cameras now are so close in performance that unless you're needing to eke out that little bit extra, a capable shooter can get, in real world shooting, can get just as good results out of the Canon cameras as they can out of a technically better performing sensor on a Nikon. Now, interesting point that a viewer brings up here that I wanted to discuss, because this is a good point. We talked about price, and actually I don't think we really had talked about price. We talked about the lens system as a reason to get into Canon, which is definitely true. But Game 2572 says Canon keeps a cheaper starter system for $550. You get 2 lenses in a bag, and then you are in and learn the system, so you stay in it. And then he has a follow-up comment. One of the reasons I switched from Nikon to Canon, because Canon came out with the affordable 10 to 18, then the 2-lens kit with the 50. So I switched. Good, very good point there, because price is often, especially for a hobbyist, and if you're on a budget, you don't have tons of money. If you're not a doctor or a dentist buying a 5D Mark IV for your hobbyist camera, a lot of us, price is going to be the underlying factor. And to be able to get a $550 starter kit. Now, I didn't see, there was some kits around that price, but to get into a lower camera, whereas you can get like a T6, a Canon T6 for $449 with an 18 to 55, and if you step into the kit with the 75 to 300, that's $550. So I think that's basically what our viewer is referring to here, because you can get like a Canon T6 with the 18 to 55 and the 75 to 300 2-lens kit. And I think that even comes with a camera bag. So pretty good deal, $550, get in a pretty capable camera. Now, where the caveat comes in here, what I wanted to point out too, as almost a counterpoint to that, is that if you're into video, then I wouldn't get in at that $550 price point. Unless perhaps you wanted to get in at the $550 with the SL2, but even there, the SL2, that's a $550 price point with no lens. Where I would get in at here is I would go in with this, the Canon T6i. I would get a T6i used with an 18 to 55 STM lens. There's one for $540. You can usually find these on sale for about, I think $650 is often where they are brand new. But I would get a used T6i with an 18 to 55. Or a refurbed for around that price. And then I would grab this, the Canon EFS 55 to 250 STM lens for $127 as a certified refurb from Canon. I think that's a much better option to be in the T6i. It just has a lot better options for video. It's a more advanced camera. It's obviously higher up the food chain, and for the little bit of price difference, very nominal increase in price difference, if you're wanting to do video, I think that's a better route to go. In fact, it may even be, you can play with both, but if you get your hands on both of them, maybe the SL2, if you can find it as a refurb or even at that price, and then add whatever lenses you want or buy the kit you want. Again, a little bit more money, but it's the way I would go with video is a primary concern. Now, to his comment about the affordable 10 to 18, yeah, absolutely. Love that lens. It's in my top 4 recommended lenses for Canon APS-C. That would be the Canon 10 to 18, right there, what he's talking about. The Canon 18 to 135 STM, the Canon 55 to 250 STM that I just talked about here for $127 as a certified refurb. And then, of course, the beautiful little 50 f1.8 STM. Probably one of the best values on the market in a prime or in any lens. Super sharp. It's not the sharpest prime, but it's very sharp. It's got 1.8 fast aperture, so you can get that separation, that shallow depth of field, that bokeh that you're not going to get with any kit lens. What it does is it opens up the whole world of fast primes to people that haven't used them at a very economical price. A lot of people look at other primes that are much more expensive, and they're like, oh, they don't understand them. Why would I spend the money? But $125 It's a pretty reasonable option to throw in a whole world of possibility to your camera. So some really good points there from Game 2572. The ability to get into a starter system for $550. Now, I do think Nikon has a similar system. To be fair, you can get the Nikon D3400 here with the AFP DX 18 to 55 VR Nikkor paired with the 70 to 300 ED Nikkor. And this is a #1 bestseller. This is actually the #1 best-selling in the best-selling DSLRs right now on Amazon. And that's $596. So $50 price difference, but frankly, I think you're probably getting a better camera. Certainly than a T6. I think you're getting a better sensor, better performance, better everything in that little 3400. Probably even, I would think, better video. The only thing I would want that it doesn't have, but at that price point, it's hard to get, is a movable LCD. But there's, not really, I guess almost a counterpoint to your point of that's a reason to buy into Nikon or a Canon, because you can do the same with Nikon. You can get into an entry-level Nikon, arguably a better camera with two very good lenses for a $50 difference. You could probably find that refurbed or, a 3300, which is an older model, for even less. And the T6 is an older model too. So apples to apples, Canon doesn't have the superiority there, or it's not like you can only get into a system that cheaply by going Canon. You can do it with Nikon too. But it's a good point on what often brings people into a system, and then once they're into it, they have some lenses, they start building lenses, and then you stay in a system, which is, I think, what keeps people in a system. A lot of people. Not everybody's willing to juggle back and forth when new things come out and sell off and whatnot. I have a lot of pros do when they want to, but it can get expensive. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the starter kits, that's obviously what they're designed for, the starter kit, the lower end camera and a couple of lenses, it gets you in, gets you hooked, gets you into that system and buying into it. Do you think that is a reason to go Canon? Obviously we can do the same thing in Nikon here. I think maybe it's Canon's better marketing than Nikon in the US, why you end up buying a lot of that. But what do you think? What do you think about starter systems like this? Would you go with a T6? Or do you agree with me that you'd spend just a little bit more and get into a T6i? Now, granted, as I said, that's more for video. Although I might do it for photography too, just because some of the options on the T6i are just better. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your feedback there, and stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.